we get started, I want to pray. I want to thank God for what He has given to me because He gave me a lot today. He kept me busy today. And because I'm feeling better, He's making me catch up. That's how I'm seeing it, right? He gave me a break with no breaks. So before we get started, let's thank Him for what we're about to receive because really this is all about Him. My Heavenly Father, my Lord, my Spirit, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for everyone you have moved to come this night. For tonight, we're going to talk about you. Last week, we talked about your presence, your existence in our life, the importance of seeing you in all things and in everything because you are. There's no limitation to you. Nothing can hold you back. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can separate you from us. Tonight, we're going to talk about how much you know us, how much you love us, how deeply your understanding goes of us. And I want to thank you for what your people will receive. I pray this night that every word you speak will enlighten them. I pray that this night, my Lord, everything that you teach them, not one word shall hit the ground, but everything will bring them into a greater place with you, that they will start looking to the kingdoms, my Lord, looking into the heavens, and they will see their reflection in you. And I pray that you will find joy and honor in them and in their lives. But this time, my Lord, it's about what you have and what you want to speak. For you want the people to know how full you are, how rich you are, my Lord. And we desire to be close to you. So thank you, my Lord, for every word. I pray that you will bless my lips, that I speak only your words. By your revelation and by your light, may you be glorified and praised. So this night, glorify yourself, my Lord. Let the world hear your words, my Lord. Let them hear your spirit. And may they learn and receive that you may be glorified. All these things I pray in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Amen. So last week, Monday, on the 1st, we talked about the omnipresence. This is just a recap, okay? In the omnipresence, we're talking about omni is Latin for all, right? It doesn't change as we do all the omnis. Omni will always stay. It means all. It is the second half, right? Presence means everywhere, every moment, the current moment, existence of now, yeah? Simultaneously happening all at the same time. So, his presence is that way. There is no limitation. There is no separation. There is no place that he hides. He exists, period. He exists like the air exists. Yeah, we may not be able to see it, but we can feel it. We can taste it. We can, you know what I mean? We need it to live. Hence the presence of God. It's the same way. There is no place that air is not. You know what I'm saying? Unless we force that out, you know, like a vacuum kind of thing. But other than that, there is no limitation and no place for him to hide or for us to hide from him. Now, as I was teaching you folks how God was showing me the 4 faces of the cherubim angels. Yeah? And each face represented an aspect of the omni of God. The fullness of God. One cherubim, and then I learned something new. Oh, I gotta share this. I forgot all about it. I know it, just like I just saw it again. Okay, so in the 4 faces, I know the people on the I know you guys not gonna be able to see that good, but hey, 4 faces cherubim. Okay, the 4 faces of the cherubim, Ezekiel, Revelation, were shown. But in Ezekiel chapter 1, he was talking about the 4 cherubim who came. There were 4 of them who came with 4 faces. But each, and they did not turn when they went, which made me realize when I was reading today, which made me realize that every face of the man faced either north, south, east, or west. And their body faced the same way. Okay? So that means they were in a line. One face this way, one face, the face of the man was facing in different directions. That's why wherever they had to go, wherever the face was facing, they all followed. So if the face was facing this, they all went that way. But nobody turned. They went according to where the face was, where they were facing, yeah? So they never did turn. And it was kind of like that. I was like, wow. That's why he saw the 4 faces, because wherever everybody was, he saw each face. But each face represented an aspect. There was the face of the man. For the first face, he said, there was the face of the man. The first face, the man. Okay? Second face, face of an eagle. Third face, face of a lion. And the 4th face, face of a calf or an ox. Well, he calls it a calf in the other one, but it's a calf off his cow. Okay? We'll see. Quédese here, please. Now, each one had an aspect of God. The man represents his presence. Now, it does that because it represents that. Hey, guys, it represents the presence because why? I created man in my image. Get it? I created man in my image. And in that, God is all present. So man, the face of the man represents that presence of God between Adam in the time of Adam. The eagle represents the knowing of God. Knowing of God. Right? The knowing, because all knowing, right? The lion represents the power, authority, or strength. Power or strength. Which is omnipotent, right? And then the ox, or the calf, whichever one you want to call, represents benevolence. In other words, his mercy and grace. Mercy, grace. Okay? Benevolence. God's mercy and grace and his choice. Okay? Each one is an aspect of God. In its fullness, the four heads being on the one angel is showing the fullness of God upon the earth. That's why Ezekiel saw each one, no matter what direction, the fullness of God goes. That's why four angels facing in each direction. And they go where the Spirit leads them to go. Yeah? Where the Spirit moves them to go. And so, omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotent, omnibenevolent. Yeah? This is what it means. Presence, knowing, strength, or power, or grace and mercy. Now, each one of these we are talking about. So last week we talked about the omnipresence. This is what happens when you don't use these, right? Forget. Omnipresence, omniscience. So in that, I'm going to show you something else that God can show me today. Oh, without my crayons, I have tissues. 4 faces. But did you know that each omni has a power of its own? That's why it's knowing, that's why it's present, yeah? That's why it's power, and that's why it's benevolence. It's its own power. But each power has its own gift because it works a certain way, okay? Get it? So each omni, the 4 faces, we have the 9 gifts of the Spirit. And each omni dictates the gift. Okay. Dictates the gift. Based on 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1 through verse 11, it talks about the gifts of the Spirit. Also in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 7 through 16, talks about the gifts of the Spirit. We're going to focus on 1 Corinthians because I need to break this down for you. I want you to see something. And you guys need to see how it works and why it's that way. But in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, we're still talking about the presence right now. In 1 Corinthians chapter 12, from verse 1 to verse 11 talks about the gifts of the Spirit, the unity and the diversity. The unity means the fullness. The diversity means the individuality. So in other words, there's a fullness of God in every gift, but it is directed through an omni. What he says? All right. And here's what it says. So I'm just going to read from verse 7. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one for the profit of all. For one is given the word of wisdom, so we have wisdom, through the Spirit. To another, the word of knowledge, through the same Spirit. To another, faith, by the same Spirit. To another, gifts of healing, by the same Spirit. To another, working of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, discerning of spirits. To another, different kinds of tongues. And to another, interpretations of tongues. But one and the same Spirit works works all these things, distributing to each one individually as he wills. See that? Yet it takes the power and authority of God to make these gifts work, to go through us. So in other words, for the gifts to work through us, we have to be walking in this. Because if we don't walk in this belief, the gift cannot be powerful. So let me show you the gifts that associate with each one. Okay? Let me just go like, let me separate these. Okay? For the presence. Let's look at the first gift. The word of wisdom. Okay. Anybody want to take a crack where wisdom belongs? The knowing. So the gift of wisdom is part of the all-knowing God. Okay? All-knowing God. The gift of knowledge. Knowledge is also, right? Wisdom and knowledge work hand in hand, right? What about faith? Faith is which one? Presence. Faith is presence. That's right. I gotta get new ones. Faith is presence. Gifts of healings. Power. Healings. What about miracles?
Power.
That's right. Healings and miracles. Right? Healings and miracles. What about discerning of prophecy? Prophecy first.
Lying.
Prophecy.
Mercy. Ego.
It would be ego. Knowing. It's a knowing. Prophecy is knowing. You guys gotta realize how big and how powerful the ego really is.
Because that's you, class, yeah?
What is that?
That's you.
That's me? Oh, I wish that. That's God, man. All God, girl. Prophecy. Okay, so what about discerning of spirits? Discerning of spirits.
Ego.
Discerning of spirits.
Mercy and grace.
Ego. Well, I like the way you guys guessing. Benevolence. The reason why is because discerning of spirits means God knows your heart and why you're going through. And His mercy and grace abounds to help guide and lead. So discerning of spirits is not only about discerning bad and good. It's about knowing what you're going through and helping you through it. That's His grace and mercy. Benevolence. The discernment. I think discernment. Okay. And what about tongues and interpretation of tongues? I would say
Ego.
that ego. Oh, you happy you got it right? I got you. Tongues and interpretations of tongues is part of the ego. Yeah? Tongues and interpretation. Now, interpretation of tongues doesn't mean interpreting tongues. Tongues means it comes in different forms, not different languages, different forms. Interpretation means it's able to interpret that different form. Dreams, visions, enigmas. These are all tongues of God. In other words, this is the way God speaks. People think we're interpreting human tongue. No, the interpretation of tongue is God's way of speaking to people. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Exactly. And they all fall under the all-knowing God. He is good, amen? This is one thing that we didn't have last week, but now we do. So every Omni is associated with a gift of the Spirit by the power of God, by the same Spirit. It's the same way I tell you Bible teachers and preachers. It's the same power of God, but by the different Spirit that's preaching, the different Spirit that's teaching, but by the same Spirit yet different. Yeah, because they're showing their gift. They're showing their power of who they are through that, and you as a vessel for that. So, in the presence, faith is there because I am. And all who believe in God must believe that He is, so that His presence can be. If you can't believe that God is present, where's your faith? You can't have faith without that. You know what I'm saying? That's why the presence brings faith. The stronger you believe in the presence of God, the greater your faith will be. Your trust in God will be, because you know about Him always seen, always, the presence is always there. So same way with the gifts and also the calls. The calls fall into the same thing too. But yet all by one Spirit, one God. Yet broken down accordingly. Amen? Right, I wanted you guys to see it so we can go into the Omni science. So let's get into the Omni science so you guys understand that. Okay. Now in the Omni science, Omni of course means all. Science is dealing with Scient, makes it one. Yeah, Omni Scient. It makes it one, individual, to God. But we're going to call it Omni science because we're talking about the knowing, the knowledge. But it actually means knowledge, skills, facts. Altogether, they mean the state of having total knowledge, the quality of knowing everything. Omniscience. Okay? That's the quality of knowing everything. And this is God. God's omniscience is not restricted to any one person. That's why in the Bible it says no interpretation is by one individual, right? Because it's about God. God's omniscience is not restricted to any one person in the Godhead, meaning the Father, the Son, or the Holy Spirit. They work as one always because they are one. Yeah, they are one. Oh, you guys got to read that. Okay, when we get there. Okay? They are all omniscient individually, but omniscience as a whole. Yeah? They are not separate. They all know what the other knows. There is nothing that the other does not know. You understand that? They all know. They exist together. They are one. Yeah? But they have their own power and their own work. Yet, they stand together. They can never separate, right? Because it is in their nature. It is their nature. Okay? That means God knows everything. God knows everything. Yeah? God knows everything we go through. That's number one. God knows everything you go through, no matter how great or small. I'm going to be calling out scriptures. Write them down. I'm just moving along, okay? So that means, like what John was saying in 1 John. 1 John chapter 3, he says, 1 John chapter 3, just verse 20, he says this. For if our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart and knows all things. That's benevolence, yeah? But it's about him knowing everything about you and understanding it. Yeah, he knows everything, but at the same time, he understands. And when we talk about the understanding, meaning like the benevolence, because this is at work, because they all work hand in hand, right? And because this is at work, you're condemning yourself, you're worried, you're fearful, you're doubtful. He knows that, all-knowing, and his mercy abounds, benevolence. Am I making sense? He knows how to deal, how to handle, how to guide you. Yeah? But first, he knows you're going through that. You're the one who hasn't figured out that he knows this yet. You understand? Yeah, good. Okay. He knows his creation. He knows who he created, what he created, and he knows all about his creation. In Matthew chapter 10, verse 29 and 30 only I want to read. But I'm going to read only that, but it's actually more than that. I'll give you all the scriptures. I'm only going to read a few of them. But this was in Matthew chapter 10, verse 27 to 31. This is about Jesus teaching the fear of the Lord. At the end it says, are not two sparrows sold for a couple coin, yet not one of them falls to the ground apart from the Father's will? Does not he know that even a bird will fall out of the tree, who will die, who will live, who will continue, who will eat, who will starve? Of course he does. Then he says, but every hair on your head are all numbered by God. He knows exactly how much hair you have on your own head. You know what I mean? That's how intimately he knows you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. And this was just to express that. He knows all that will occur until the end of history, whenever that will be. Isaiah 46. In Isaiah 46, verse 8 to 10. Isaiah 46, verse 8 to 10 says, remember this, and show yourself men. Recall to mind, O ye transgressors. Remember the former things of old, the past. Yeah, the former things of old, for I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Everything he has spoken from the beginning of time. You know what's funny when I read that? I was thinking, so everything that's happening right now was determined from the beginning. From the very beginning. He's not winging it along the way. You know what I mean? Whenever time began, whenever God started to exist. Yeah, we don't know. But when it started, he already knew. That means he already knew us, and we were like far down the road. You know what I mean? It's not like he waited and then say, oh look, I have this. Okay, I can use this. You know what I'm saying? No, he knew that you were going to come. He knew you from the womb. That's what he told Jeremiah. I knew you were coming. I knew I could use you. I knew you were going to be the vessel. I knew before man existed that man was going to exist. And then when man was going to exist, I knew you were going to exist. From the beginning. That's how much he knows. You know, that's how much he knows about you. He knows our thoughts before we even speak it. Psalms 139 verse 4. In Psalms 139 verse 4, he says, for there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. This is David talking. David knows that every word, before it's even out of your mouth, he already knows what you're going to say based on what he knows what's in your heart. How you're going to react, how you're going to respond, right? What you're going to say, what you're not going to say. He already knows because he knows you. Yeah, completely. Nothing you said. He knew you were going to do that. He knew you were going to be confused. He knew you were going to understand. He knew you were going to cast things away. He knew it all. You just didn't realize it. That's why those things happened. But he knew that was going to happen. And he knew it needed to happen. Everything that has happened to you, he knew it needed to happen. Every struggle you face, he already knew it needed to happen to bring you to this place, to this existence, this now. Am I making sense? You guys don't realize. And so we look at our past and we condemn ourselves, but all those things had to happen to bring you here into the present. Don't you get it? And we look at our mistakes and our darknesses and stuff, and we don't accept it. We fight with our past. We do all of that. But David knows, and I understand, that didn't happen for nothing. And not because God says, well, I can use it because you're here, and no sense waste this life. Might as well use it. No, God doesn't do that. We do that. But God doesn't do that. What he does is he knew, and he already had ordained what family you were going to be in, what problems you were going to face, what you were going to like, what you were going to hate, what you were going to be allergic to, how you were going to react, how you were going to respond, how you were going to grow up, what you were going to accept, what you were going to learn, what you were going to become, and then how he was going to break you to become something else. Oh yeah, he knew it all. To get you to this place, this moment. You understand that? Can you conceive that? It's big, isn't it? Oh, yes, it is. But he knew it. And here we are trying to figure God in a now sense, like I know him now, and I want to understand. But you got to know him from time. You got to know him. And all of this to understand the all-knowing God. You can't just know the all-knowing God in a present term. You got to understand the all-knowing God before you even create it. All-knowing. Everything that has happened is happening for his own glory, his own reasons. He already determined everything. That's why people can prophesy. That's why they can have dreams about what's to come. Because he already spoke it. People are not seeing the future. I don't see things in the lives of people or the future of people because it's something yet to come. It's something already ordained that he already spoke. I'm just telling you what he's showing me. You understand? But it's already determined. I mean, because he knows. Are you guys saying that's prophecy? That's what he does. He already knows the past, the present, and the future. He's already said it. Yeah? It is us who cannot accept it because we look at it as today. We cannot handle the past because we think God wasn't there. Oh, people, God was there before you even was. You know what I mean? Before your parents even was. He already determined. He already did. He already ordained. He already predestined. He already did it. That's why your life is not a mistake, and you're not here for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew you would be, and he knew how to get you here, and he knew it was going to be hard, and he knew what kind of person I would be. You know what I'm saying? And he knew in time you would handle it. Am I making sense?
Yes.
This is the knowing of God, people. From the beginning. Let me continue. And I just thought it. Yeah. He knows our heart and even saw us in the womb. Remember, Jeremiah, right? I knew you from the womb, but also the same one in Psalms 139, same one from 1 to 3. Oh Lord, you have searched me and know me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thoughts afar off. You comprehend my path and my laying down and are acquainted with all my ways. You know me, is what David is telling you. You know me completely. My frame is not hidden from you. When I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the lowest parts of the earth, your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed. And in your book they all were written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. Look at that. David comprehends the all-knowing God. He's saying that you already, like I was saying, you already ordained it all. You set it all up before I even became. You knew. And then when I was born, you already determined. You knew. You fashioned my days and my path before me that I may understand you, that I may come to know you, and every path will lead you to God. It is us who rebels on the journey because we don't understand this all-knowing God. We think he doesn't know. And we cry out for God without this revelation. You know, like God, please help me. And God's like, freaking, I'm right here. Get what? Wait. I'm right here. You don't have to yell, you know? It's kind of like that. Or sometimes I have a feeling God says sometimes, why are you crying? You know, just like with Elijah. Elijah, go back to work. Just go back to work. I'm here. You know, I know you were going to do this. You didn't know you were going to do this. That's why you're hating yourself for it. That's why you hate yourself for the things you've done. You didn't know you were going to do it. And when you did it, you hate yourself for doing it. But God is like, freaking, just get back on the path. I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to do this. Just go back and do your work. Just go back on the path. That's what he was telling Elijah when he told him to come out of the cave. What are you doing in there? You know? Funny. Too funny. See, God knows everything. There is nothing that is hidden from his sight. Now, when we look at it, and remember I talked about the Godhead, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Jesus also was omniscient. He knew everything. Everything that the Father knew. Now, his words will deter people because, why? Because it says like, oh, I only do as the Father tells me to. But there's a reason he said those things. Remember, he was part human. Yeah? And being the part human means, like being the human part, means that there is limitations in us, in our understanding, limitation in our grasp, limitation in what we can comprehend. We limit ourselves based on what we understand and what we know. Even though God gives us a fullness, we only take parts and pieces. You know what I mean? Because that's all we can handle right now. It's kind of like that, right? But Jesus' omniscience is made clear to us in all the Gospels. Because it's not like it's a hit and miss. He knows and he doesn't know. Of course he knows. He knew the Samaritan woman and her husband. He told them to go prepare for the Passover. I told them, on your journey, you're going to meet the man, grab the donkey, da-da-da. He told him that that's prophecy. He was all-knowing. He knew every step of the way. But yet, at the same time, he refused to show that all-knowing. Why? Why? And that was my question. Why? Why not? Because of mankind. Because of human nature. And he was part of this human race. Okay? Part of this human race. So he knew about everybody's life before he met them. Like the Samaritan woman that's there. He told the disciples about not Lazarus. Lazarus is dead. And they hadn't even gone there yet. Remember, he waited a couple days. Lazarus, he goes, well, if he's sleeping, he's going to go, no, Lazarus is dead. I know he's dead. You don't know he's dead. I already know he's dead. But we're going to go there. I'm going to wake him up. You know, and he said, well, if he's sleeping, he's going to wake up. Like, no, Lazarus is dead. You don't get it. Kind of like that. He already knew. This is him all-knowing. All-knowing, right? But Jesus also displays the nature of man, our nature, because he was, human nature was still in there, was still a part. He was all God, yet he was not. You know what I mean? Until he became. You know what I'm saying? So Jesus also displayed the nature of man, but by not having all the knowledge while he was growing up. Remember, he went to the scholars and asked them questions. And then he shared what he understood, right, with the scholars. Remember when he was 12? He went to the temple and said, hey, I was about my father's business. He was learning the way that we would learn. The Father was teaching him the way that we have to learn, the way that we have to grow. You understand that? So he didn't like just open him up and said, okay, you're 12 years old, all knowing, you know, just like me, your daddy. We all know it. No, Jesus, he didn't do that to Jesus. He raised him up like a son of man. Yeah, yet the Son of God, and let him have enlightenment, and let him have revelation, and let him grow, and let him come in awe, because this is the nature of man. And he let him grow in such a way. So he did it. But when he came into his own and he started his own ministry, he made a choice. Yes, he made a choice on the cross, but he also made a choice to not use that all-knowing. He chose not to. He grew up in wisdom and stature. In Luke 2:52 says that. But in Hebrews it said, instead of Jesus, he chose not to be all-knowing, chose not to receive that, right? So what he did was he chose to learn as mankind would learn. I only do what the Father tells me to do. Yeah? I only do what he shows me to do. What I have learned to do. Why did he do that? Why did he do that? And that was me and God today. He did that, in other words, what God was showing me, is he did that we, by the same nature, may learn how to seek after God as Jesus did. That we may learn to do as we have received from the Father. As he did. He didn't go beyond what he received. When he received, he put it into practice. When he heard, he spoke it and put it into practice. Am I making sense? So the Father was constantly teaching him the way he was showing us that the Father would teach us. That's why he said the Father would teach you himself like he taught me. He would teach you too. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. And Hebrews, Paul understands it when he says he learned obedience through suffering. Trial and error, man. He had to learn. He chose to do it that way, that we may see it, that he may relate to us, and not only to God. You know? That's why he gave up everything, his throne, to become low, to become like one of us. When they ask him, when will the end be? This is part of it. When will the end be? He says, I don't know. Only the Father knows that. Because he refused to accept or to hear it. You know, between he and the Father, he chose not to be all-knowing. So the Father taught him along the way. You understand? So he had the knowledge, but the Father didn't give him all the knowledge. Because remember, it's still nature, the nature of man. Yeah? So he didn't receive it all. He had his limitations, just like we have our limitations. Yeah? His limitations, he was just like us. And he was subject to God, the Almighty. He was subject to the will of God. Just like we are subject to the will of God when we understand. Jesus understood, and now he was subject. So he learned from the Father, right? And he put it into practice. He started his ministry, and he walked accordingly. Yeah, and he told them, I only teach you what I've been taught. I only give you what I've been given. I only speak what I have heard. Yeah, in other words, what my Father has taught me is what I'm teaching you. It's kind of like that. But other than that, he didn't teach me that. So I'm not going to guess at it. Even though I could look into it and know. No, he says, I don't know. Only the Father knows. No one knows the day nor the hour of my Father who is in heaven, is what he said. Yeah? That's why he humbled himself. And in the end, he was exalted. Yeah? He gave up everything to show us that we can have something. See, this is the whole thing when I was reading this. When I was understanding this, I started to look at the life of Christ, and I realized that we really don't comprehend him, do we? We perceive and conceive him as, we saw him, he died, blah, blah. No, look at it. Look at the man, not as a God, because if he was a God, he would be all-knowing. But he wasn't. He refused to be. He became like us. But he believed in the presence. He believed in the knowing of the Father. He believed in this completely, wholeheartedly. So God worked through him in every area, like he's showing us that he will work through us. You understand that? That Jesus wasn't limited because he chose to accept what was given to him, not determining for himself what will happen. That's why he said, the Father said, this is my life. I can lay it down, I can pick it up. Yeah? This commandment is given to me. You understand that? That means I can choose to continue this way, or I can choose to be glorified already. And that's something I think we don't comprehend. We think it's all about something else. All about the salvation. All about, yes, he did all of that, but it was more than him suffering and dying. It was him walking in obedience, constant obedience by choice. Constant obedience by choice. Because everything he learned, he applied to his life. Everything he received, he glorified God with. You know what I'm saying? He didn't push it beyond. He took it to heart. And he learned from it, and he grew because of it, and he got stronger. And everything he believed just became stronger, stronger, stronger about the Father. What he learned about the Father became more because he refused to accept all of it. This is stating that a choice, the choice that Christ made, a choice to humble himself and become as we are. And to show us the way to the Father is always through obedience. It's always through obedience. Obedience brings humility. Yeah? In John chapter 5, verse 19, it says, the Son dies in like manner. John 12, 49 and 50 says, the Father has told me, so I speak. I will not say any more other than what I'm given to say. Kind of like that. He chose to be in that position because that's where we are. Exactly. When we look at the four faces of the angels, okay, I'm going to stop for a second. Anybody got any questions so far? Because we're moving on to the angel. No? You guys good? Okay. Looking at the four faces of the angel, we're looking at the face of the eagle. Why does the eagle represent? Remember when I said the omnipresence is about the face of the man? The face of the man is because God said we shall make man in our likeness. God is all present. So when he made the likeness of man, it was intended that all presence. This is the presence, my presence. And so mankind is multiplied, so we're all over the damn place. So yeah, we're present, all right, right? Anyway. But the eagle. I read, I don't know how many sites about eagles. And the one thing that I was, remember when I did the study, I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember doing the study about the sheep on the left, the goats on the right. Yeah. And I looked up the behaviors of each animal. And why? Because each sheep follow only one master, right? They don't do their own thing. But goats, wannabes, they're wannabes. So they try to be with other animals to feel a part of something. Yeah, it's their nature. And I found out that the eagle has a nature too. And it was so like God, I was blown away by what I learned. And I said, man, they're going to love this. Wait till you find out why the eagle represents the all-knowing. Yeah? Okay. The nature and the characteristics of an eagle. The first thing about the eagle is he has vision. Because you know why? They're always high up and they're always watching. God specifically designed the eagle's eye for long distance focusing clarity. Did you know that? I did not know that. Out of all the birds, they have that going on. From any height, anywhere, they can see over 50 miles away. I was like, wow, that is like some serious foresight. You know what I'm saying? That's right. See, but it's just like God. God sees us clearly from afar off, and he sees our future. He sees what's ahead for us. You understand that? That's why. And by this, he can guide us and lead us down the path that will take us to that place. Because why? He sees that we do not. He has clarity and focus on your walk. We do not. You understand? So that's why it's kind of like that. Because he sees what's coming from afar and knows how to bring us into that path. The path that we need to be on so that he can help us. Exactly. Because God has a vision of you. You know what? He has vision. for you. I know the thoughts I have for you. Thoughts of hope and a future. You know? Second thing I learned about the eagle, that the eagle is fearless. Now, the eagle will never surrender to any size or any strength. They will pick up a goat and drive it off a cliff. They don't care what size the other animal is. They will run it off no matter what, and they will win. They will not stop fighting until they win. They don't care. Size and strength don't matter to them. You know, when the fight is a fight, right? That's what they do when they have an intended prey. That's what they're going after. Yeah? That's what they're going after. And they do what got to be done, and they're not afraid. They're not afraid. Yeah? They're not afraid. So they will always fight to win. Hence our God. God knows your struggles. And it don't scare him. He don't care how big it is, how strong it is to you. He don't care. He will fight. Because God fights for us to win. He knows what you're going through. He knows the strength and the power, the struggle you're going through. But he will fight to win. Because there is no strength that you have or no power that consumes you that can overpower God. He will run you off that cliff. Let me tell you. You know what I mean? Because he fights to win you. He fights to win you. Yeah? So how big or hard your problems may be, that power that's over you, that strength that consumes you, is nothing to God. It means nothing to God because his intention is to win you, to have you for himself. He's not afraid of your darkness. You're afraid of your darkness. You know what I'm saying? He's not. The third characteristic of the eagle that I found out is they're tenacious or extremely persistent. I think they are. Yeah. When there is a like this, when there is I read this. This was interesting. When there is a storm happening, you know what happens? Yeah, they fly into the storm. And they use the current or they use the updraft from a storm to go higher. And then they continue to prepare. When all the other birds run and hide for cover, the eagle will not. They fly into the storm, but they will never fly away. They will never fly away. Because the eagle takes advantage of the storm. Just like freaking God, doesn't he? When you are going through, he takes advantage of that struggle, and he says, oh yeah, this storm means nothing to me. I'm going to use this to bring them to higher places. Because God's not afraid of your soul. Just like he's not afraid of the strength of your problem. He's not afraid of your turmoils in your life, your storms in life. He uses it as opportunities to bring you into a higher place. Yeah? Helping you to reach new heights instead of cowering in your fears. He will use those things to help you to learn. That's what the eagle does by nature. That's what God does for us by nature. You know what I mean? The fourth thing I learned is eagles don't mingle with lesser birds. They don't sit around with the pigeons and the sparrows. Yeah. Only their own kind. They only sit around with their own kind. Why? Because they don't mingle because lesser birds are more scavengers. They eat the leftovers of everybody else. That's what they do. They eat the leftovers because that's their way of survival. Yeah, that's how they survive. So they'll eat the scraps of whatever the bigger birds have left. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. Eagles do not. They do not eat leftovers. They do not eat what others drop. They go for their own prey. And they always wait for the opportunity. Because why? Because they solve their own problems. They feed themselves. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. They don't scavenge. The lesser birds scavenge off of them. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like God. See, God will not mingle with people who tries to put him less, who makes him less, who doesn't see him for who he is. The scavengers who rob and steal from God. The people who take from God, refusing to work and to fly higher or to do the will of God. God will not mingle with such. Yeah? Because why? Because they steal from God. It's kind of like in the wilderness when they were in the wilderness and he gave them manna, he gave them specific instructions. What was it? Take what you need. Don't take any more. Don't be a pig. Yeah. Don't be like over humble and take too little bit. You know what I mean? Then God's got to fix that. And that's what he did. Those who took little, he provided a little bit more to provide. And those who took too much, they spoiled. Because they were greedy. Yeah? They were greedy. They were taking from God all the way through the wilderness. They were robbing from God. In the meantime, always complaining, always arguing, always grumpy, always finding fault and blaming what God was doing. And they were pointing their finger at God. Yeah? Yeah, God wasn't going to hang out with them anymore. So he killed them all in the wilderness. And he got himself new people. Yeah, the next generation that went in. Eating off of the others, like the scavengers do, means it's kind of like this. God is a problem solver. Yeah? He will give you, just like the eagle, he will give you a way of escaping your problems and your issues. He doesn't give you bits and pieces because he doesn't consider you a scavenger. Yeah? He gives you the fullness of all that he is. Yeah? So, when you can't feed yourself, God will feed you. But he won't feed you off of what somebody else said. He's going to give you something you need for yourself. That makes sense. It's kind of like that. He's taking care of his own. Yeah? He's providing for his own. Yeah? For those who are hungry for him. You know what I'm saying? He's a problem solver on your behalf. That's why he don't hang out with the lesser, because they always gonna get problems. But they don't want their problem solved. They just want a way out of whatever the issue is. But nothing will ever change. He waits for the right opportunity to challenge us to go into survival mode. In other words, I wrote that down because it's kind of like this is what he does. Scavengers, they go into survival mode by stealing, by robbing, or eating off of the praise of others. Kind of like people in church. They can't come to their own revelation. They can't come to their own insight. They rob off of those who have. They take, they steal, and they pretend it's their revelation. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. That's a scavenger to me. You know? That's a scavenger. But not so God. God, he puts himself in a place in our life where he forces us into survival mode, where we have to seek, search, and go. We don't go hanging out to try to glean off of people. No, we stand before God, and he does that with us. He feeds us directly, and we eat off of him. Like he said, he puts us in that kind of survival mode that we seek only him, after him. We don't seek after scavengers. We go after him just like he goes after us. You understand that? Kind of like that. That's why he don't mingle with the lessers, only his kind. You know what I'm saying? That's right. That's right. The fifth thing I learned is that eagles never eat dead meat.
Wow.
In other words, they always eat live prey. Yeah. So if a lion kills a deer and the eagle is hungry, they won't eat that deer because the lion killed it. They will kill their own deer. It's kind of like that, They get their own. He does not scavenge. Yeah. Even if he's desperate, he does not scavenge. You know what I'm saying? He only eats when he kills himself. So God never gives us dead things to eat. Never gives us dead, because he doesn't want us to be scavengers. He doesn't give us old manna from yesterday. He gives it to us daily, brand new and fresh. You see what I'm saying? It's always, because he's always looking for ways to feed us new revelations and insight. He's looking for new ways always that can bring us into the changes that our life really needs. You know, this is what he does, and this is what the eagle does. Dead meat talks about old manna. Talks about lost and dead things that do not work. Yeah? God, all-knowing, what you're going through, afar off what's coming, already understands the path you need to go. The problems and the stuff you're going through, oh yeah, he's right there. Opportunity to get rid of that dead thing and bring in some fresh manna into your life, some new revelation, so change can happen. This is God. This is what he does. I've learned something. That the people you hang out with and the books that you read, a lot of times it's creating who you're becoming. Because you're listening to their voice. That's dead. You'll never become who you really are in God if you're going to listen to everybody else. Even with me. You can listen to me talk. You can listen to all the revelation. But it's what God has given and what it poured out. It's what you do when you get it that makes it dead or alive. Just like with God. God gives me something, pieces, and what I do with it, I seek, I search, so I can understand, and it grows into something more. You know what I mean? I'm not a scavenger. I don't eat off of other people. God gives me, and this is what he does. I'm always in survival mode. You know what I'm saying? And the whole thing is this is what he does. And so he's creating a me that he sees coming, that he knows needs to be, that my life journey is leading me that way. You understand? And everything that I'm facing, and everything he puts before me, he already knows that he has done it. He knows my heart. He knows my intentions. He knows my thoughts. Right? So he knows how I'm going to choose. Because he knows I've already chosen. Yeah, I've already chosen. So he knows how he can feed me. And he knows that I will never let what he has given to me fall to the ground. And because of that, he feeds me every day. I get new manna every day. Get that? But say he gives you something and you don't do anything. Or you let it fall to the ground. And you keep trying to hold on to it. Like sand through your fingers, right? Trying to hold on. Wait. But that happened this time. And I want to keep that moment. The moment is gone. It's dead. It was and it will never be. That moment is gone. At that moment, God gave you something new, something fresh. And what you did is you cast it away. And now it's spoiled and rotted. Are you going to go back to the dead carcass that's been sitting there for months and years that was a revelation from God? That's not a revelation anymore. That's dead. God don't eat dead things, and we shouldn't either. To me, that's living in old glory. And when we listen to other people or live off of their opinions, concordances, all of these study Bibles and stuff, we're living off of we're scavenging off of them. No, you have a Bible, you read and let God feed you. You know what I'm saying? New manna every day. Don't eat dead things. To do that, you gotta be renewed. Your mind gotta be renewed every day. It's gotta believe and become stronger in your beliefs. Get that? God wants us to learn and grow from what we have eaten or what we have received. Fresh manna daily. We grow because of that. Not because you heard something last week and you're trying to live in it all week. No. You heard it last week. You heard this. You're going to hear this today. And tomorrow you're going to apply it. And it's going to morph into something greater. Then the next day you're going to apply it again. And it's going to be stronger than that. Like Nikki said, this is fresh manna. But to take what is said, make your notes and live by the notes. And you apply the notes. Eventually in a week those notes going to mean nothing. Because it's not going to make sense. Because they're dead. Get that? Kind of like that. God don't eat dead meat and neither should we. The sixth thing I've learned is eagles possess vitality. Let me tell you about the vitality of an eagle. I was so impressed I had to talk about this. It reminded me of my Lord. But also reminded me of us. When eagles when they become about 30 years of age, what happens is they lose their vitality. They can't fly as far. They can't stay up as long. They lose their sight. Yeah, because they're getting old. You know what they do? They go and they retreat to their nest. And you know what they start to do? They start to tear themselves apart. This is what they do. First thing they do is they break their beak by smashing it on a rock. Next thing they do is they start plucking out their talons and their feathers. And you know what they do? They stay like that until everything grows back. Because when it grows back, they are a new bird. And they live another 30 to 40 years. They literally killed themselves to morph into something new. I know, right? I was like, Jesus. They're the only bird that does that. How to extend their life, huh? The beak goes back. I know, right? Everything that they broke comes back. Amazing, yeah? Just like fingernails. Just like fingernails. It comes right back. They lose everything, they break everything, then they get everything back. And they're a new bird. Isn't that amazing? I was so impressed by that. I was like, wow. They retreat so that they can re-energize. They don't hide because, you know, they'll do what they have to do to survive, so they don't hide. But they do retreat to re-energize. And sometimes we did. And priests think that, ministers think they do that by calling it a sabbatical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crap. They're not sabbaticaling because they're not being broken. They're not breaking themselves. They're taking a vacation. Sabbatical is not a vacation. A sabbatical is a retreat or re-energizing. It's about being broken and reviving. Am I making sense? That's what God does. This is what He does to us. You know what I mean? God knows that there will be times in our life that we also need to retreat. That we also need to retreat. We need to reflect on the past, on where we came from and where we're going. This is part of it because we get to that point where we become weak. We can't. Yeah? He uses this time to help you improve by breaking you down so He can rebuild you back up. So He can revive you. Yes, He can rebuild you from your current standing or your current position or your current situation in life. He's bringing you into a better place. Sometimes you gotta pull, because God will pull back sometimes, and sometimes He has to pull back because He knows if too much can break you. How many of you have heard so many things from messages or whatever that it literally you felt condemned? That's the time to retreat. And sometimes I have to tell you, leave. You need to retreat. You need to go. Yeah? You need to re-energize because you've lost something. God will do that for us because He knows the gospel is not supposed to be like that. A relationship with God is not supposed to be like that. It shouldn't overwhelm us, consume us, and destroy us. And for some people it does because all they hear is condemnation, all they hear is judgment, all they hear is this. Because that's their heart. They're not learning or growing or eating off of it. They're taking it personal. And when you take it personal, you're going to die. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about what's personal. It's about what God is trying to teach you, what He knows of you. So He can help you grow and change. You know what I'm saying? But people don't get that. Yeah, so they struggle. So in their struggle, I tell them to leave. Because it's best that they retreat. Because God knows that they need to go down a different direction. They're not ready. They're not ready. You know, kind of like that. And He does that. And then He'll take them. He'll break them. He'll reform them. He'll teach them, grow them. And before we know it, they return. They got to go the journey that God has dictated for them. Yeah? They have to. They have to. Because, you know, but it is His way of helping us metamorphose, change. It's His way of helping us grow. You know what I mean? It's needed. The last thing I learned about the eagle, okay, so we think that eagles are like vicious and ferocious and mean. But did you know that they're nurturers? I did not know that. I would have never known that of the eagle, but they are. Let me tell you how eagles are nurturers. A mother eagle will stay with their birds, not even leave, other than to get them food and come back. She will never leave them pretty much alone. There's a daddy eagle, he'll be bringing food. The whole thing is they only leave the nest when they necessary, when they have to. Other than that, they will never leave. But when their babies are old enough to learn to fly, she instinctually knows they are. What she does is she will take her baby, one at a time, hopefully not all of them, and she'll put them on her back, and then she'll soar into the sky with the bird on the back. And they're clinging to their life, right? You know, what the hell, Mom? And they're soaring, and she's thinking. And then you know what she does? She drops herself up from under them and lets them fall. So that they can know that they have wings. And as they fall, she'll swoop down and they'll land on her back. And she'll repeat it again and again and again until they come to the revelation that they have freaking wings. Okay? And then they'll learn to fly. The deal is they don't know they have wings, and they don't know, when they find out they do, they don't know how to use it. That's why she does it. She repeats the process over and over, and eventually they learn how to fly. But some of them become fearful. They don't know how to handle the drop. They don't know how to handle the pressure of growth. They don't know how to fly. Yeah? And so when the mother does this repeatedly and they can't get it, she instinctually knows that they can't get it. There's a cowardness there, or there's a fear there, there's a doubt there, they cannot handle. She takes the bird, her baby, she takes it back, and you know what she does? She gives them lickings. She disciplines them. You know what she does? She takes away everything from it. The baby doesn't get food. It's like you don't get TV, you don't get radio, you don't get not friends. Give me your phone. She takes everything away that you are attached to. Yeah, that the bird that you cling to for comfort. That the only thing left is to fly out of that nest. You get that? And when the baby realizes there is nothing, she'll push him off the cliff, and he will fly.
That's cool.
That's God.
Yeah.
Freaking that's God. And he'll do that to you again and again. He'll bring you. He knows you can fly. You don't know you can fly. You don't know how strong you are. So he'll take you to the heights because he knows you are. He knows it's in you. You don't know it's in you. So he will do this repeatedly until he realizes there's just too much fear. He can't do it this way. So he will go do it your way. And he'll take you back to your comfort zone. But he will break everything in that comfort zone so there is no comfort. When you come to the revelation, there is nothing, you'll turn to mommy. You'll turn to God. When you turn to God, he'll push you off the cliff. Amazing, yeah? Because that's how much he loves you. Why? I wrote over him. When there is nothing left, God will push you off the cliff. And then he'll yell, "Fly, you bastard! You know you can!" I just said that. You know how? Your wings, use the damn thing. Only when you overcome your fears and your doubts. You stay in your fears and your doubts in your place because you're clinging to those things. God is breaking those things that you cling to because they're keeping you in your fears and your doubts. And you don't see it. You think it's just a small issue. No. He sees that it's greater than that. He knows you. He knows why you're still like this. He understands it. You don't. That's why he does what he does. So that you can come to the revelation, yeah, that you can be better than this. You can fly higher. You can be free. You just don't realize you can be. You don't. You don't realize you can be. That's why the face of the eagle. The eagle knows. It can see. It understands. It fights. This is just like God. And the eagle is a perfect representation of his all-knowing because of what it does. In the gifts of the Spirit, based off of 1 Corinthians 12, 1 through 11, and Ephesians 4, 7, 16, God sees just like an eagle. He sees just like an eagle. In prophecy, in the gift of prophecy, the past, the present, and your future is not hidden from him. He knew you from the womb and before you were even born, before you were even a thought, he knew you. The gift of knowledge, he knows you as a fact. How's that? Okay, so understanding is about comprehending, grasping, okay? But knowledge is about facts. It's about fact. It's when understanding becomes fact, yeah? And then the cornerstone is Christ. So when you're trying to comprehend God, you're still in the trying to understand faith. There is no facts there. It's all trying to grasp, trying to comprehend, trying to get yourself to understand. This is understanding, yeah? But in knowledge, you know. There is no shaking. There is no diverting, right? There is no wavering. It's a fact. It's science. Science deals with facts and facts alone. Facts alone. Not in hearsays or prophecies. No, it deals in facts only. Omniscience is all-knowing. All facts. This is God. He sees your life as a fact. Not as a maybe, iffy. It's a fact. You're a fact to him. He knows exactly what you're going to do. Because he knows. It's a fact. Come on, people. This is God we're talking about. That's why the gift of knowledge is like that. It speaks in facts. It doesn't speak in hearsays. It knows as a fact. It's a gift from God. It is God. You know what I'm saying? The gift of wisdom is God knowing your heart and soul. It's the deeper things of the Spirit. Yeah? It's the intentions, yeah, that you don't realize moves you. He knows. You know what I mean? He knows. He knows you're dark. He knows why you don't like. He knows why I don't like hazelnut. Bad boyfriend issues. Yeah? Kind of like that. It's kind of like that. He knows why I don't like hazelnut. Just like there's no hazelnut. See, and I'm good with that. You get it? It's like that. He knows why back then, why this, why that. He knows it all. He knows what it did, how it scarred your soul. He knows how it broke your spirit. Yeah? This is wisdom. That's why he knows how to handle, how to deal, what to bring, what to say, how to lead, because he understands you from that place. He's not trying to grasp you or comprehend you. He knows you. That's why he can perceive what is needed for you. You know what I'm saying? This is the wisdom that he has about you. And the gift of tongues, it's about the way you act. It's about your actions. Yeah? Tongues is a language, is a spiritual language. Not the guy, that's what they do. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, but
No, that's what they sound like. It's all rehearsed. Everybody sounds exactly the same. Since when you get everybody saying the same thing in the same, oh, that's not spiritual. That's just mad. That sounded funny. Anywho. That's what tongues is. Tongues is the way you respond. Tongues is not really the intention. It's what's coming out of you that defiles you or glorifies you. Yeah? It's your reactions, it's your works, it's all those things that the soul and the spirit is driving you to do. You understand? It speaks volumes about what you know with God, what you have with God, what you understand of God. It speaks. That's why it speaks to the world in a tongue that only God can share through your life. By the things that you do, the way that you act, the words that you speak. Yeah? This is tongues. Interpretations of tongues is being able to understand that of others. Yeah? God not only knows you, he knows your husband, your friends, he knows everybody around you, he knows everything around you. See, this is the whole thing. God knows you and he knows everything that happens around you. He can interpret based on all of this, not saying that, based on all these people here and you sitting here and everybody sitting around you. You're going to think like this because you guys are all hearing it, but based on your own, this is going to happen. You're going to think like this. Yeah? Or, kind of like that. Or you're out in the supermarket and based on all of these people, remember I said, God moves everybody so that this one thing can happen for you. That's interpretation of tongues. He moves everything because he understands. Yeah? And he can interpret based on everything, knowing you, how you're going to respond, react, tongues, work, give, keep. He knows what you're going to do based on everything around you. How you're going to react and respond. What's going to come out of you because of all of this. He sees it all. He's looking at you. He knows you personally as a tongue, right? Your life, the way you act, where it's all coming from. But imagine if he knows you, where you're coming from based off all your life. Yeah, your life you live. Now he adds the world around you and the influences of work and family. How that influence affects this influence. He knows that. That's interpretation. He knows. He knows that you go to church, you're like this because everybody's glorifying God. And he knows that when you go home to mommy, or go home to family, you're like girding yourself like, oh, where it happened to God. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. He knows that the life around you can change. And so he can interpret the change because he knows what makes that change happen. And he knows what to do to help you out of it. When you look at the gifts, yeah, God uses men for these gifts to work through. Yet he is the gift. He is the gift itself. The gift is not something that you learn and repeat. It's something you become because he is. Yeah? So the presence of God, hey, drives it all. The I am, yeah? The everywhere God, the all-knowing God. The all-knowing can speak. The vessel, when the presence of faith, yeah? The gift of faith in the presence, because you know he exists, God exists. Believe that he is. In Hebrews, those who have faith must believe first that he is. That's where faith starts. When faith is strong, because the existence of God and the believing that he is exists, and it's strong in you, faith is strong. That's called faith. Okay? In that faith, it drives God to use you as a vessel to speak to his people. That's the other gifts that the Spirit works with. Through you. I don't prophesy. God speaks your future. God speaks your past. God speaks your problem. I don't know your problem, but he knows your problems. He knows his glory. He knows what he can do with you. You know what I mean? I don't know nothing, but he knows everything. You know what I'm saying? Or you guys will be talking, all of a sudden I'll get something, and I'll speak it with knowledge, even though I don't know how I got it. Or wisdom, yeah, from the heart. Like, yeah, but look at what you're doing, the feeling, what's defiling, what's from the inside. These gifts are at work because I believe, not because I'm a prophet. No, I'm a vessel. The vessel is called the prophet. The prophet does these. She doesn't just prophesy. The power of God works, and it works whatever it wants at any given time. There is no limitation to God, but we limit God to what we are comfortable with. You understand? Because why? Because our faith is not strong. And because our faith in believing in God is not strong, neither is our gifts. Remember, you have a measure, and it will only be as strong as you allow it to be. It's only as strong as you believe it to be. You know what I mean? But you don't believe in the gift, you believe in the God of the gift. Then he becomes prophecy, he becomes tongues, he becomes interpretation, he becomes all of it. Not us. It's not us, it's him. Yeah? And that's a powerful gift to have. The sight of God. This is the eyes of God. It's the eagle, the focus. Yeah? The foresight of God. It knows, it understands, it sees. Yeah? And that's why the eagle's face represents the all-knowing God. And that's why these gifts come forth because of that all-knowing God. You know what I mean? Oh, everybody just saw this yellow. What the hell was that yellow bus? What is that bus that went down? That yellow bus. That was funny. Anyway. All of these gifts deals with God telling his people, I know you. All of them. All of them. The others, they tell God's people other things. But this says, I know. Omni Scient, the all-knowing God, is at work constantly because of his all-presence. Yeah, the all-present God. Yeah, it's one and the same. Where his presence is, so is his knowing. Amen?
Amen.
All right. Any questions? What?
No, I was just thinking that if we tried to trick him, he knew we would.
Yeah, he knew you were going to do that. I gave up a long time ago.
I'm going to do something else because he's not going to know.
Oh, he knew.
Know. Yeah. He knew.
He knows before you even make a plan.
Yeah,
he already
right.
knows it's gonna fail.
Yeah.
So sometimes you guys be saying stuff, making plans, be like, I'm already feeling this is a bad idea, and you're all like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm like, whoa, oh, I see all the pitfalls already. Like, oh, okay, sounds good. And you'll be all like, what? I'm like, nothing. It sounds good. All good. Any questions about the cherubim or the faces? Next week, we're going to talk about the strength and the power of God. Healings and miracles. Why healings and miracles for the strength and the power of God? because he has overcome the world. Healings and miracles deal with worldly things. It does. And he overcame the world by his power, his strength, and his blood. Yeah? All right. Question time. Questions. I have answers. I'm open. You guys are terrible. What?
I know this minor, but there's a glare on the board.
Yeah.
The third and the fourth face. What is it saying
What?
on the board?
The third and
The
the fourth
third
face.
face and the fourth face.
Oh, the lion and the ox.
Lion
And the ox. Yeah. You gotta see this thing is white, so I told you guys you weren't going to be able to see it, girl.
Oh,
I did. You was late.
So it's the four faces of the cherubim.
Yeah. Of Ezekiel and of Revelation.
Awesome.
Each face represents an omni of God in its fullness.
Woo-hoo.
I know, right? Any other questions? Come on, you guys. You guys understand everything I said? Was it that clear? Wow, that was a good study, wasn't it? I'm surprised you guys don't have any questions. Any comments? Anything you want to share? What did you guys get? I want to hear this. What do you guys think you guys got? I know. Okay. Somebody tell me what you got. Go ahead, Jordan.
We're not even the baby eagles.
I
They're
know.
already the mama eagle.
Yeah, I know.
I really like when you're explaining the attributes and characteristics of the ego and how they relate to God and how he is. I mean everything. I don't know. That was kind of spoke loudly to me, because that is how he is to us, how he's been training us.
Yeah,
through
exactly.
you and in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what we need.
Yeah, and kind of I guess it refocused for me.
Good.
In how he sees me and what he's looking toward.
Should make you guys stop looking at yourself.
Yeah.
He already knows.
Yeah.
You're focusing too much on your negatives, or even too much on your positives. Even I gotta make your positives negatives, because you become a little too heavily minded. I gotta bring you back down to earth. Like, come on, let's be real. The whole thing is, because he does know what you worry about. Be who you are. This is what he created. He's not asking you to be what you're not. And when you become truly transformed, in other words, become totally his, you'll become a new creation, but you'll still be who you are. You'll just be you 2.0. Yeah.
Upgraded.
Upgraded. A better you. Yeah. A brighter darkness. Who else wants to share? Very good. Go ahead, Jennifer.
I'll share. For me tonight, it was about the ego too, but even from the beginning when he was sharing about Jesus, how because he knew God, but how he separated, but he let God lead and guide him,
Teach. Yeah.
to give us hope. I feel like tonight gave me hope, he was an example that we too, if we seek and go after God and trust him,
Yeah.
then God can start. He just made a path for us to show us he rejected, not saying that he rejected God, but he let go for us so that we can find our way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Understand God this way.
He was showing us through his life, not about suffering and dying
Yes.
only, but about making a choice to heed and obey and
Yes.
listen and accept. Because God knows you're this person. He
Yes.
knows this direction. He understands that. He didn't want to know everything because he wanted to grow into things.
Yes.
He wanted to show us this is the life of man in the hands of God. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because without that example, see how much he knows?
Yes.
He was all-knowing, and he knew this would help us. To become like God, all-knowing, it wouldn't help us.
Yes.
But to become man, the son of, that's why they called him the son of man. Not the son of God, the son of man. Because he chose to be like us, to think like us, to feel like us, right? And then to learn like we would learn.
Yes.
Just reminds me of all knowing, which is why he spoke about do not worry.
Yeah, do not worry.
He knows.
He knows. He knows when you're going to suffer. He knows you're going to waste your money. He knows you're going to use them for things, he knows you're going to do things you shouldn't do, and you're going to be without. Yeah? He knows when you're going to have plenty. He knows when you're going to be in want. He knows. But he also knows he's going to provide. He's going to provide no matter what. Maybe not in what you want, but what he feels is sufficient for you. What he knows he can handle. Yeah? What he feels that you're worthy of. Because he may have and you wasted it. You know what I mean? So God knows to give and to pull back. He understands because he knows how to train us. So sometimes you feel like you have plenty and then you're in want. And sometimes the want outweighs the plenty. You know what I mean? Plenty is far and few. Want is like constant, right? It's because we have not learned to be in want and to accept it. We fight against it.
The want is the tool. That's the tool.
The
teaching tool. That's the teaching
It is.
tool. That's right.
It's the
And
opportunity.
you're you call you're not avoiding, but you're trying to throw it away. Like,
Yeah.
Like it's not you're trying to like cast it away.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to cast it away because that's the thing that's
That's
the
God's.
tool.
That's what God said. You can't accept it.
Yeah.
You can't accept lack. And when you can't accept lack, you haven't determined that this is God's will. So you're not believing that God will put you in this. That's why people pray for blessing. They pray for the blessings of God. No, they're not worthy of the blessings because they don't even believe when they're in want. You know what I'm saying? Because they have not learned. They'll learn nothing when they're in plenty. That's why the woman with the 2 monies. She gave her livelihood. She gave her life. It didn't matter that she was in want. It didn't matter she only had 2 pennies. Because to her, it wasn't about that. It was about the God. She learned to be in want. She could do without her last 2 mites. Come on. She learned. What about you guys? That's right. Don't know how to be in want. All said, I learned to be in plenty and in want. You know, you got to learn both of them. You got to learn. If you don't learn these and learn to accept these, you will never have them. You will never have the other part. If you cannot accept want and lack, you will never have blessings. You know what I'm saying? Because giving you blessings will override the want. But if you're in want and you're crying out, then you really don't believe. Because you're asking God to take it away. But he's saying, no. No. If I do that, then you're going to be the same dead carcass. No. I'm trying to renew you and make you see this. So the change has to come. And sometimes those things that you're facing will bring that change. But not change in your personality and behavior. Change in your belief in God that it gets stronger. Everything you face is to make you stronger in your belief with God. Not worldly things. These worldly things going to always happen. Remember, he knows this. So this doesn't affect him. It affects you. It shouldn't affect you, but it does. The world don't affect me. Nothing can stop God. Come on, people. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what God, he just flashed it. If this was an issue, life was an issue for someone who doesn't get a paycheck, life was an issue, I wouldn't have a house. The world means nothing to me without God. Yet God found it in his benevolence to bless me with a place. Not for myself, but for his people so we can do ministry for his glory. Get that? This house wasn't given to me because I'm better than everybody else. He gave it because I believe and he wants to work. You understand that he wants to glorify himself. That's why I got the house. Not for me, because I'm good. For him, because I'm good. Am I making that?
Yeah.
See the difference? But he said we forget that those wants and those lack is making us rich. But you don't want that kind of richness, yeah? The insight and the foresight of God. Yeah, that's what it brings it. When you're hungry and you're starving and you're seeking after him, when you have nothing, remember, he changes you. The morphing begins. The transformation starts happening because you keep holding tight. You keep believing in him. It just makes everything fall in line. It's when you fight against it that you will always be in it. Remember the constant I was talking about? The same thing over. Put your hand and drop out. And you fall and you don't even know you can fly. Because you don't have the support. Yeah, he ain't going to give you the support until you realize you can do it without the support.
That's why the zealousness is like wanting the wrong thing. Yeah. And that's why we can get excited about, like, oh, we learned this and we understand this and we grasp this, but It's not even.
Yeah. It's manna for the day.
Yeah. It's not even God. Knowing God. And
Yeah.
knowing Him and where it came from.
Right.
It's just knowing the things
Yeah, the things
that
of
make
the
it
God.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
I
You
think-
become zealous of from all of this revelation they did not get.
And that's why it's only momentary, and
Momentary.
it doesn't hold on. And it goes right away, right after, and then we gotta get
Manna.
knocked down, right? Just because we put ourselves on a pedestal,
Yeah.
thinking like we got it.
Yeah, and where does it go? The whole thing is he's supplying fresh manna every day, right? A new carcass every day, not dead animals, fresh, new, revived. He expects us to do something with it, so that every day he can provide more. He expects us to eat it, search, seek, keep going after it, so he can bring a new one. If he comes and you still with the same one, why would he give you a new revelation if you're still clinging to this
And
one?
that's why when I had asked you about the question of like, I have these lot of questions, and you're saying, if there's only one answer,
There is.
Him.
Yeah,
That's it. That's all it is.
because all the other questions is
Yeah.
how you
Yeah, yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to know. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with him.
And
Has to
all
do
about
everything with you.
Him.
Everything comes to this one thing. I believe that way. It comes down to this one thing. No matter what I understand, no matter
Yeah.
what I perceive, no matter what he showed me, no matter what kind of
Yeah.
revelation, it always comes down to my God. That's it. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
It still comes back to this. That's where I believe from. Everything else is just frosting on this cake, man. You know what I'm saying? So I feed the belief, my God, between me and God. Everything else is pudding. You know what I mean? It's just, it's unnecessary.
That's why, like, the problems are gonna be there. It's always gonna be there.
It's always
but
gonna
you
be
don't
there.
Make it. You don't make it a problem.
Yeah. You understand that it's
Yeah.
there.
Then it's there.
And
it's
it's
gonna
something-
happen. And
it's
he-
gonna happen.
And he meant it to happen.
Exactly. Because it's about God. It's all about Him. You're going through this because it's about Him.
And then
You're
they-
struggling because it's
And we
about
don't
Him.
know if like the people that we're connected to need to go through that too.
Yeah. Because it's
That's
about Him. Everybody. That's right. That's right. You getting it?
Oh,
I like how you were talking about Jesus, because he had to learn when he went into the synagogues, right?
Right.
When he was at 12.
Yeah.
And he learned, to me, he went to school, like church is considered school, right?
Right,
He's learning
no
to do
way.
that. And it's like grasping, like all this time we be coming to ministry and we're not being educated and applying it, we're special kids.
Yeah.
And it's just seriously, we all are. No, I mean we're learning, but you know what I mean. We're not.
Special ed. I have a hospital of special ed kids. Yeah. I have, what they call that? I have Jerry's kids. Anyway, what?
No. It's just that. It's like, man, we just, to me, like this afternoon, I was saying, like, I just need to apply myself, really. Like, if I can apply, search, seek, like how you say, then you can get it. Just like I was trying to learn the keyboards this past week, and I was like, damn, if I just applied myself before in the past, I could have learned how to
You've
play
learned
more.
already.
Yeah, exactly. And you just got to put yourself in it. And
Yeah.
it's like, if we want God, we got to put ourselves searching, seeking, and for it's like, for me, I've never dug deep. It's like everything that's been taught.
Superficial.
Yeah,
For
it is still,
temporary.
yeah, and like what you said, which nails it, and you've been saying it in the beginning, like obedience is a key.
It
and
is.
obedience makes us humble.
Yeah, obedience makes us humble. Because what is obedience? What is obedience?
voluntary sacrifice.
Voluntary sacrifice. It brings humility. Wow. Apparently tonight made you guys see that you guys got a whole freaking lot to learn, don't you? You thought you knew it all, didn't you? Oh, thank you, Jesus.
It's like to be diligent in that verse in First Peter. Be diligent. Be diligent. To be purposeful in why you're doing this, why you're seeking, and that your purpose is God. Like you said, it comes back to God.
It always comes back to God.
Be diligent. Like I think it was First Peter or Second Peter. It says diligent to faith, add virtue, virtue. But the first word was to be diligent. To, as you were saying, to be tenacious. To look, seek, and ask.
Yeah, keep going,
Yeah.
man.
And
Don't give up just because you don't get it.
Yeah, just keep going.
That's right. That's right.
Like even though things get like the world, he already knows your world.
Yeah,
He already knows you. So
Yeah.
when you're like blah.
that's
you know,
right.
like,
Because you don't realize all of this.
Yeah, because when I was reading Ezekiel, that the angels always move forward, and
Yeah.
everything God did was forward. We're the ones who are backsliding, or but He moves forward every
Yeah.
day.
Wherever he faces, he goes.
Yeah.
In every direction. And so, yeah, that's us. We backslide. We
Yeah.
turn around. We go in the opposite direction. We hold back. We do those things because, and everything that we're facing is testifying against us. Because when we cannot handle it, the discipline of God, if we cannot handle the discipline of God, we have no God. We're struggling for stupid things like egos and pride. There is no ego and pride before God. He is ego and pride. Yeah?
And we forget that He is the gift.
He is.
The gift.
He is the light that shines. In the book of Revelation, chapter 21, I was talking about the presence of God. Yeah? The honor. It says, and I made them all each line, it says that in the New Jerusalem, the renewing or the transformation, I'm taking it that portion because it's talking about the New Jerusalem. Yeah, that's going to come. I'm looking at it when I read it today. I did not see a New Jerusalem as a place. I saw it as a person, us. We are the New Jerusalem. We are the new and the revived, the transformed. And it says that in the New Jerusalem, there will be no sun, for our God, for the Almighty is its light. Yeah. It also says, get this. I read this today and I was all like, oh, this is transformation. This is true transformation. It says in well, you guys can look at it, you write it down. It's in Revelation chapter 21. I read it today. I loved it. It says 21 from verse 22. It says, it said the glory of the New Jerusalem. But it says, but I saw no temple. That's the first thing he says in verse 22. But I saw no temple in it. In the New Jerusalem. For the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are its temple. Yeah. The city had no need of the sun or of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of God illuminated it. The Lamb is its light.
What's that?
That's
to
true
renew us.
transformation.
Yeah, like if we're connected to Him.
It's
and
a
like
radiation of the
radiation.
Spirit to the
Yes.
gift. It's a radiation of the, and you where you stand is a temple unto God, unto the Lord.
Wow.
It's not a building, it's a person.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I was reading, I was like, oh shit,
So
this
that's
is not
like-
about
It's
places.
like a oneness, like being connected back
Yeah,
to God.
and it's like what I was saying about, remember I was talking about the kingdom? Thy kingdom come. I go, don't you guys understand when I talk about this? Thy kingdom come is saying, God is, this is what I'm going to repeat this right now. So you guys get this, yeah? In the pen. Where is it? Here. Because he was saying in Revelation 1, I am the Alpha and the Omega, right? Because it's about the omnipresence signifies that God cannot be contained. He is the beginning and the end. Nothing stops what he already knows and sees. It will come to pass, right? His presence is whole and complete. It's not separated. It is always whole and complete. He does not bring a kingdom. That means if he is whole and complete, our mind, our little limited mind, sees his presence sitting on a throne in a place. In a place, okay? But he is not in a place. He is the place. Yeah, he is the place. The center of the place is all light. It's him. Yeah? So he doesn't bring a kingdom and he doesn't dwell in a kingdom. He is the kingdom. He is. So when you say, thy kingdom come, you're saying, I want your presence completely in my life so that your will can be done in my life. What you know, what you're like, come on. The New Jerusalem, no temple, no building. He is the temple. He is the light. He is the kingdom.
He is the I am.
Huh?
The I am.
The I am. All of this is leading you guys to the I am. All of this, I understand. You know, it's the connections that are revelation to me. You understand? When he brought in the gifts today, it was like, oh shit, I didn't see that. Now I see it, right? Now I understand why. But The faces too. These are small little revelations that's only amplifying or justifying what I have learned and what I understand already. You know what I mean? So it's just amplifying what I already understand. So it's just connections God is making. The word becomes fuller to me. It makes more sense. I see more. You know, that's what he's doing. He's opening my sight to see more, go deeper, wider, to see higher. And so it takes these kinds of things for me to see that. More connections makes makes the God more true. Because it applies all the way across the board. You know what I'm saying? The truth stays the same. I'm not changing the God to fit what I've received. What he gave me fits the God. And everything is all about God. He is the temple. He is the light. He is the kingdom. And when it's time for us to enter into his kingdom, we're entering into his peace, his rest, his light. Like we're entering into him, becoming one with him.
The permeating through, like breaking the veil of the flesh.
Yes. Exactly. Anybody else? Did you guys think it was this big? I knew it. Omnipresence. Cassie, Sandra, you guys got any questions? You guys turn. Cassie first. What, got a comment?
Just amazed of how you describe the ego and the natures and characteristics and how it resembles God.
Yeah.
And the connection of that.
Because the face of the ego, that's why.
Okay. This is what I'm trying to understand. You know how you say like the four faces, right?
Right.
You said that each of it faces
North, south, east, and west. Right, like a box.
but they're like one, right?
Yeah, they're all on four faces on one head.
And this is what you said. You said that, you know, they don't turn.
They don't turn.
Whatever way that they move, all of it goes at once.
Exactly.
Right? That's how they move. But in like how the gifts, even though they're individual, they still are all together. And
They are.
through the spirit, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's how I'm picturing it.
Exactly. Because it's by the same spirit, the same authority, and the same power. They just have their own work and their own direction.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's how, and then they don't question either, right? Because they just move.
Yeah, because they are one.
Because they're one. Okay.
Because they're one. Prophecy, the gift of prophecy is no different than the gift of knowledge.
Right.
The gift of prophecy is no different than interpretations of tongues. It's exactly the same because it's by the same spirit. It just sees from a different angle. And so it's not like it's a completely separate gift. It is one and the same, but from a different perspective.
Yes. For the person that's in front.
For the person that's in front of you. For what they need. Because he knows what they need.
Yeah, the manifold.
The manifold. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you guys are getting this. What about you, Miss Sandra? You have any questions or comments?
Yeah, but I lost it when Cassie was speaking. Cassie's point was really, that was very helpful. Thanks, Cassie.
Don't you have a piece of paper when you want to ask something, you write it down? I've told you this before, I think. I'm pretty sure I
No,
did.
I can't write as fast as you speak. Hello.
No, it's just a question. You just write the question. So when I ask a question, you go, oh, I have this question. Anyway, do you have something?
No, I'm good right now. Thanks.
All right.
I actually have one more question.
What?
Question. Okay, you know how you were talking about for someone who has doubts and fear and they go into this cycle over and over again.
The one, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So what happens to the person who doesn't rise up and believe?
Yeah, God takes them back to the nest and beats them.
It goes them off the cliff.
In other words, he has to discipline them another way till they come to the revelation of what they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So if this cycle doesn't break, he puts them into a different one, which actually is the same one in a different way.
And then pushes you out of
And then pushes you, and then when you finally get it,
Yeah.
yeah, now you get it. Let's do it this way. Exactly. That's a good question. I mean, people don't see things like that. Because we think the cycle is always repeating. Now, let me tell you about the cycles. Cycles of discipline will always come. It has to. A warrior always has to be sharp. There will always be practicing. They will always be fighting. They will always be preparing for fight. So God will put us into cycles. Cycles of want, cycles of plenty, cycles of hurt, pain, and suffering, cycles of healings and blessings. God puts us into cycles, but the cycle should not dictate how we behave. Yeah? We should be consistent in everything because of the God. He's the center of it all. We have to learn this. If we don't learn this, then the cycle repeats and repeats until you get it. That God is doing this. God is the cause. God knows why he's doing this. It's us who hasn't learned it. But when that cycle doesn't work, well, the wrath of God has to kick in. He's going to do it another way. When he does it another way, he's stricter, more disciplining, more hurtful. Then it feels like the world is crashing in on you kind of thing. Oh, yeah, because you didn't learn that way. So now you got to learn it this way. And sometimes breaking us helps us. Yeah. So don't think you're going through something weird. Yeah, you're going through what is common to man, but it's God's way of making God God in your life. He knows what it'll take. You're going to go through your cycle, but everyone has to, because you have to learn how to be humble in plenty, how to be glorious in want, yeah, and how to never forget that God is all in all. He can give it and he can take it away. Yeah, and if you listen to Anybody else? Peter, did you enjoy yourself?
I did, thank you.
You're welcome. You have any questions? No.
Not
Right now?
necessarily.
Okay.
I would say that I struggled the first couple of days last week. I think if anything, I'm kind of addicted to sugar, and without that, I think it started to struggle because my head was just kept coming back. Basically, do I believe?
Right.
And then I struggled because of why do I have these negative thoughts that I don't believe? Why is it that and I kind of a couple of days things started getting a little better. Meg and I spoke, and I guess it's still always so hard to really articulate, but I was saying to Meg, I want to believe,
right,
and and kind of how this is tying in. We're on a path, and I originally, or still in my prayers, it's like, please help me to know when I'm straying from your path. I ask for pray for signs so that I can correct myself, and one of the other things that has helped, I think, tremendously, your prayer bags. There was how do you remove the spirit of anger, the spirit of hate, along those other lines, and one of the things that I have been trying to do as much as possible is to, well, number one, if you entertain it, you take that. If you're hateful to other people, that's the spirit.
That's the spirit.
And you just can't. You've got to remove it. You've got to be above it.
You got to rise above it.
And,
it's in the nature. That's why.
And it's when I think I became to understand it's truly me that's holding on to it.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, that's actually pretty easy, because then
you can just let it go.
Let it go, and luckily I'm not an angry, hateful person. But so that wasn't so difficult to start letting go, and then driving the car was a lot easier, and other people and frustration situations and stuff like that. So now for me, when sort of like the face value for the all-knowing, and it's like this growing up, there was never any darkness. There was no way to hide. Everything was known, and so those are yours. You can, to everyone else, you can have those skeletons in your closet, but
Right.
they're always on
display.
on the grease board of with God and
Yeah.
you, and so.
So it might as well come clean.
So for me, it's like, okay, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, and I'm trying to do the best to follow the path along those lines. But one of the things that you said tonight was that God already, and it's not that anyway, to take in a more picture, God already, He sees where I'm going to be, blessed in 10 years or tomorrow,
Your future.
or which is different than today.
Right.
And so to maybe not, we've got to be hard on ourselves to change, to embrace, not to be complacent, but at the same time, he's leading. And so as I was thinking, I was like, well, if Pastor asked me, what did I get out of this?
Yeah.
I was going to say basically that even though there are failures, it has already been seen, and that the fact that I want to believe means that it's actually working.
Yes, exactly.
And then my questions of not believing are the wrong direction of thought.
No. You questioning not believing or struggling with not believing is exposing a struggle that you have that can become an opportunity and a teaching tool for God. You just don't realize it. You're opening your heart to Him. That's why it's coming out. That's why you're seeing these things and your real struggles. It's not that you don't believe because you're trying to believe. Yeah, but you're struggling because you want it to be exactly the way you think believing is. You understand? Our mindset that believing is this. We believe this way, and it has to be like this, and this fact, and then, right? Like science, it has to be a fact. But God is not a tangible thing, even though He can be if He wants to. But right now, to believe, it's by faith, meaning understanding the presence or your relationship with Him. Yeah? That's hard to grasp when you say believe, because it's not something that you can put your hand on, something you can touch. It's something you have to live by. Yeah? Within your heart, you have to live by it. And so it reminds me of like a creed that you take in the military, that you vow to continue in spite of it. You with valor and honor and justice, right? You walk in it. You're willing to lay your life down for anybody. It's not about knowing who you're going to lay it down for. They're intangible. It's about the vow you made. You understand? That's tangible. The one that you made. You believe because you make believing tangible to you, not God. God will never become that kind of tangible because He's not flesh, He's spirit. So we become more spiritual, meaning that our tangibility becomes what comes out of us. It becomes our truth, our love, our joy, our peace. That shows that we have this with God because it's present. When we start feeling the thoughts of not believing, then you don't see that God has been working. But having those thoughts means it is, because it's exposing itself. That's all it's doing. It's not saying that you don't believe it. It's showing that your mind is struggling with this spiritual God. And that's a good thing because your thoughts are on Him. Am I making sense? This is the enmity that all men has. And you have to see the enmity for the wall to come down. So it becomes one thought. You know what I'm saying? So there's always going to be struggle. Like I was saying, there's a cycle we must all go through. New knowledge, new understanding is going to come in. The old has to leave. But you're looking at the old now. You know what I mean? That kind of thoughts. You're looking at these old ways and these old things. But those old ways and those old things is going to show you a great God. You understand that? So we need the dark to see the light. We need those things to know God. So that when you say, I believe, and that thought comes up, you will cast it away. You can't cast it away until you grasp this. You're going through a phase of understanding, trying to comprehend, trying to grasp, because it's not fact yet. You know what I mean? So the thoughts will come up. This is the enmity. This is what you're going to have to learn life is going to be like with God. You're always going to have the struggle of dark and light, but we're going to conquer it through the light. What we believe, what we know, what we understand, what we have with God. Those things don't destroy you. letting those things come at you and have power will destroy you. Having the thought is not wrong. Having the thought is good because it shows you're aware of him. You know what I'm saying? So don't be hard on yourself for having those thoughts. It's good to have those thoughts because it'll make you stop, reflect, think, and look. And you'll focus back on God. And that thought will become less and less. For you, it might take a little while. God knows how long it'll take, but for right now, for him, it's opportunity. He wants it to come out so you and him can learn together. You know what I'm saying? Because you're at the beginning. This isn't an overnight thing, but it can be when you're ready. When you're willing to commit, when you're willing to give yourself to it all, when you're willing to cast that thought and believe God is real because he is, he exists, and you know it, you feel it, you understand it, you comprehend it in every way. When it becomes fact, that thought will never come again. Never. You know what I mean? So right now it's showing you're growing. It's all good. Very good.
His mind wants it to be.
Yeah, I like that guy.
That's Nick's husband, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah.
Not only that, you know what else?
What?
He's sitting all the way in the back, and I can hear him clearly.
Oh yeah, his voice is loud. He's good. He's good. Not like everybody else, right?
Yeah, everybody else. Oh, it's like you guys are freaking whispering.
I know they are.
God.
Even I gotta lean forward and listen. Like, what? Anybody else? So what were you saying, Lisa?
No, I
Wait,
said-
Lisa was saying something. Wait, Sandra.
No, I just said that Peter sounds like his mind is trying to be systematic, but then yet with the bag, God is giving it.
Yeah, it's breaking that
opportunity.
systematic.
Yeah. And it's like,
That's
okay,
what the
here,
bag
I'm gonna
does.
give you right what to pray, but then there's a freedom in that because I'm all like,
Yeah.
you know, so we're gonna do this like partly his way,
The bag
but
is
yet
good.
it's a free, you know, he has to.
Hey,
give
those
it
bag
freely.
is a freaking
Right.
blessing from heaven. Thank you, Jesus, man. I thank God for it.
That saved us.
Yeah, and it does. It takes you out of
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
and makes you see the people God wants you to see. Takes your eyes off of you and makes you look at them. Yeah, and some of them are reflective. It does make you look at you, like you like you said, put a spirit of anger and spirit. And he goes, oh, right, okay, now I can drive the car. Now that I'm not as angry, I can look at this, you know what? You see,
Yeah.
it's reflective too.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be because just like when I teach the preachers and the teachers, anything you read in the Bible is about you first before you tell somebody else what they're gonna do. You know what I mean? It's all about you. You ministering to yourself before you minister to anybody else. Exactly. Every tag is the same way. Just like we did the prayer circle, right? So I'm telling you, you gotta become the people that you put a tag. So I showed them. I put one about homeless. I'm homeless. Lord, we need this, we need that. As a homeless person would pray. You know what I mean? And not from me seeing a homeless, but me being a homeless. And from that kind of heart, yeah? So everybody's like, okay. So Senka pulls her first tag. And you know what she pulls? She pulls the United States of America. So she doesn't know what to do, so she just does fine. So she comes and she's telling me the other day. And I'm all like, she tells them, because I tell her, I know Senka. It's hard to be a country. I said that. He said, yeah, I was rolling. I was like, that is freaking funny. That was funny.
So nonchalant about
I
it.
know.
Serious.
See, I was just talking. I didn't realize I said that to you, you said. And I was like, I said that. It was so funny. I was like, funny. It's hard to be a country. Too funny. Okay, who else? Anybody else want to comment about tonight? Learned
I
anything?
enjoyed tonight.
You did?
Second, that is hard.
Especially about the eagle.
Yeah.
The
Wait.
characteristics.
What is that? The eagle.
Characteristics of the eagle. Like, that was interesting.
There's a reason why he picked the eagle for a face, you know.
Yeah.
There he is.
I kept laughing because when you said, oh, when God takes the bird back and me.
Because apparently he's guiding and leading you ain't working.
Yeah.
So he'll just break you. Sometimes that works better for some people. You know? That's true. What, Sandra?
Yeah.
Second thing.
I was laughing because I think I realized I heard you say Secca said it's hard to be a country.
Yeah, because I was telling everybody about at prayer circle that every time you pull, you become the person or the thing that you pull. So I showed them by pulling for a homeless family. I became the homeless family, and I prayed as I was part of the homeless family, like that. I put myself in their shoes, okay? So after giving them an example, we started to pray. Second pulls pray for the United States of America, okay? And she doesn't know what to pray, so she's kind of like just winging it, just moving along. It does it real fast, and we just kind of skip it. So second at the end goes, I the United States, and then she said that out of my mouth came, I know it's hard to be a country. And I just kept going on and on. I didn't realize I said that. She told me that the other day. I was rolling. I'm funny. I said I'm funny. That was funny. Oh, I wish I heard that. I would have laughed if I heard somebody say that. I'd be like, ah! That was funny.
Yeah, I thought of something else. You know what, Pastor Shirley?
What?
Are you guys? And I'm not sure. I'm thinking this probably came from you in regards to eagles. What was it? When an eagle gets sick, it retreats to its nest.
Yeah, I said that. Why?
Yeah, and all the other eagles takes care of it until it's well.
Until it's well.
All
Yeah.
the other eagles come and feed it. All the other
They're
eagles come and
nurturers.
visit it
Yeah, they're
until
nurturers.
it's well.
Yeah, he breaks his beak. He pulls out his talents. He plucks out his wing, his feathers, and he stays there. And he re-energizes, and he becomes a new eagle. Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was when it becomes sick or injured or something like that. It wasn't about the I'm calling it the 30-year midlife crisis.
No. They go through a process of change.
Not an ego thing, but
It is an ego thing. They go through a process of change where they can't fly, they can't see as far, their body's deteriorating, and this is how they re-energize. After they do this, they can live another 30, 40 years.
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Anyway, anybody else got anything to add or speak? Now, Nani?
So, I remember you sharing when you came back from the throne room of God.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the eagle, the angel.
Oh, yeah, the eagle was looking at me. The eagle's face was facing me. Was standing in front of the ark. Was standing in front of until he moved out of the way. When he moved out of my way, the ark was in front of me, and 4 angels were standing at 4 corners of the ark, and they all went to 4 corners of the room. And then I came out of the vision. Yeah. I had, when we were at the other sanctuary, I think I preached about it one time. God had given me the dream about being an eagle. I was an eagle, and I was at the top of some roof or something, I don't know where, but I was looking down at everything. I could see everything, distance and everything. And I came out of it, and it became a message that I had preached back then. But I remembered it today. He was showing me all the dreams, 2 dreams and 2 visions about eagles. Yeah? And showing me that it's the nature. It's the nature. And it's kind of like that. It's like we have the nature of God instinctually and don't realize it. You know what I mean? Some people have that instinctual presence of God. Yeah? That unbreakable, shakable faith. You know what I mean? Some people, it's stronger in others than others. And maybe in some ways, that face, one of the 4 faces, all belong to us in some way. You know what I mean? But in the same time, on those faces, there's an opposite effect to it. Like the man being, like the face of the man, just popped into my head. The face of the man represents the presence of God. Yeah? The ever-present God, right? In his likeness. But pride and egos can make the man dark and make the presence dark. You know what I'm saying? And doesn't make God's presence strong, but makes the man strong. Am I making sense? Makes his presence greater than God. So it can work all the way. Instead of an ego, if the ego doesn't do what he does, and then another, say a falcon, a wannabe, or somebody else, then the foresight is not there like it should be. You know, so we can ruin who we really are in God because of our own decisions. Even though God knows we're going to make that decision, and he allows it. Yeah? Some people will walk away and be away from God for years and years and years, and all of a sudden one day, revelation, and they're back to God because it was time. You know? So sometimes we forget. We forget that we forget that we are subject. We will always be subject to Almighty. Yeah? We just haven't perceived that yet. So we think it's our life, our goods, our no, your kids don't belong. Your kids belong to God. You just stewards. Everything you have in your life, stewardship. Everything is stewardship. You came into this world naked. You will leave without everything. You own nothing. Your name may be on it now, but when you're gone, it'll belong to somebody else. You can't take it with you. This is all temporary stuff for livelihood, but not for glory. Yeah? So why cling to it? That's how you know if you're walking with God. If you're clinging to the worldly things or the God of that thing. Because he can bring it and he can take it away. But if he does bring it like he brings a house, it's for his glory alone. Not because of who we think we are, but because of who we know, or I know who he is. You know what I mean? Amen? Was that a good study? It was a good study, man. I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed today's. So, Miss Sandra, tomorrow you bring a short word for us. We'll get into whatever you get, no matter what. Don't have to be an all Bible study kind of thing going on. Okay? Just keep it simple.
You're not expecting that.
Oh, no, I'm not at all, girl. You saw the quirk on the face, right? You saw the little smiley quirky face? That's you, girl. I wasn't expecting